it's not really all that professional. Mm-hmm. It's just fucking us just shooting the shit. But yeah, what I was saying was that's something I've been trying to do, is just like talk about shit that, you know, people can't relate to, but then relate it to them somehow.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem I have with sports. I had the one opening games joke about, or opening ceremonies, the Olympics, about, you know, everybody being dressed like Tommy Hilfiger's douchebag cousin, because you know, whether you watch it or not, like you pointed out earlier, you can still picture Tommy Hilfiger's douchebag cousin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. That's one thing like I've been trying to struggle with, or not struggle with, but I think maybe it's just because the scene's so small. Is like I don't really have a good feel like what the audience here, like what kind of jokes they like, you know, what kind of their humor is.
Right,
like,
and 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be the same people.
Yeah, exactly.
Switching up.
So I don't know. Like my only philosophy right now is just try to pack as many jokes in as I can, like in a short amount of time, and try not to offend anybody. And I know it's comedy. People are like, well, you're supposed to offend people. Well, that's debatable.
You don't. I mean, you can. There are people that do that and they do it well, and that's what works for them. But you don't have to do that.
Yeah. You
don't have to lean on something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
We were talking about, and here, I'll pull it up. We were talking about, you know, the bombings. You know, this will be released later in the week, I guess, but we're recording this the night of the bombings at the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
And it was Patton Oswalt, noted comedian.
Yeah, I saw. I haven't read it though.
And here, I mean, I'll just read it. Yeah. I'll just read it word for word.
Yeah.
Boston, fucking horrible. I remember when 9/11 went down, my reaction was, well, I've had it with humanity, but I was wrong. I don't know what's going to be revealed behind all of this mayhem. One human insect or a poisonous mass of broken sociopaths. But here's what I do know. It's one person of 100, or if it's one person or 100 people, that number is not even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent of the population on this planet. You watch the videos of the carnage, and there are people running towards the destruction to help out. This is a giant planet, and we're lucky to live on it, but there are prices and penalties incurred for the daily miracle of existence. One of them is, every once in a while, the wiring of a tiny sliver of the species gets snarled and they're pointed towards darkness. But the vast majority stands against that darkness, and, like all white blood cells attacking a virus, they dilute and weaken and eventually wash away the evildoers and, more importantly, the damage they wreak. This is beyond religion or creed or nation. We would not be here if humanity were inherently evil. We'd have eaten ourselves alive long ago. So when you spot violence or bigotry or intolerance or fear or just garden variety misogyny, hatred or ignorance, just look it in the eye and think, the good outnumber you and we always will. So that's coming from a guy, you know, in an industry where, you know, dick jokes are the fare, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And just going above it, and just, you know, this doesn't have to be a time about, you know, using what's in the headlines to make people laugh. It's, you know, it's raw, you know, kind of tugs at the heartstrings a little, but, you know, some people might, you know, not be fucked up enough to think, oh, yeah, that is really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, like, I've always seen comics and stuff, like, especially after something like this happens, or I remember the last one was, you know, the elementary shooting back in December, and, like, the second they do is get on Twitter, and they start, you know, making jokes and shit, and, I mean, that's what they want to do, that's cool, but, like, me personally, if I don't have anything to say about it, and try to make a statement of what I think about the whole situation, and not like offend people, like that's what I want to do. Like I don't want to just be like, I don't want to piss somebody off, and also at the same time, I just don't want to be that person who pisses people off. Like,
right.
You know, I just want to make people laugh. That's all I really care about.
And one thing I've kind of found, like I'm getting back into Twitter for those of you listeners out there, Kelly RT at Kelly RT 1031. But one thing I've got, like, noticing people do this on Twitter. It's not really making fun of the tragedy, but making fun of the people who are doing so or being insensitive toward it.
Yeah.
It's I've got a couple here. One of them, let's see here. Michelle Beadle, she was on, whatever that show is that Colin Cowherd had on ESPN. But she tweeted Mo Ron retweeting Kim Kardashian this is in the midst of all the news about this coming out. Kim Kardashian, check out Kris Jenner on QVC's PM style show at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight.
Okay, so she's bitching at her because she's not like addressing what's going on.
Well,
right now.
I mean, it's all this. People are talking about that in the middle of it. It's like, hey, let's get around this. Yeah. Let's check out Mom on the Home Shopping Network. Yeah. Let's make sure to. There's that. I don't know how to work this phone. Damn technology.
Folks, technology is crazy.
Let's see here. And then this is another one. I'm not familiar with the guy. It was if we can talk, retweeted by Anders Holm Durs from Workaholics.
Workaholics, yeah.
And it's from Kumail Nanjiani, at Kumailn. TMZ's big headline right now is that Joey McIntyre missed the blast by minutes. Hope they keep us posted as the rest of his day develops. I mean, yeah, it's
I think that's a good, that's an appropriate joke. You know what I mean? For what's happening. It's not.
It's it's the kind of thing, you're TMZ. Just do your thing. That's
exactly.
That's not what people care about. If they want to hear about the explosion, you're not the place they're going.
Yeah, exactly. They're just going to go to CNN or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one goes like, "Oh, did you hear about that bomb blast in Boston?" Yeah, let's go to TMZ and find out what the fuck's going on.
I'm sure they're, telling us what the first responders are wearing, if they wore it well. I mean, that's not the fucking news I want about this explosion.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I guess I'll go just keep it going. I got some questions I wrote down.
Okay.
And these are just questions I always ask everybody, the guests. I think I've asked everybody since I started. But why did you start doing comedy?
See, honestly, what got me started was the buddy. He actually came up and did the March Epic show of last year's. His name's Rivers Langley, and actually, we've got fixing to call in here about 10 minutes or so. Dave Dettmering, he's actually taken over for Rivers. He hosted the Bayweather Variety Show down in Auburn. It's second Tuesday every month it's now at the Bloodhound. For those of you familiar with Auburn, if you haven't been there in a while, that's the new name of the Ale House down there. And I guess.
Okay.
And so, we go down there, and I was down there for the Iron Bowl 2 years ago, and it was one is in the midst of Alabama being awesome, not going down expecting any sort of victory. Just first time I've been down to Auburn since graduating 3 years earlier. Just down there to have fun. Run into my buddy Rivers. We were at Bodega, right at the corner of Magnolia and God, I haven't been so long I can't even think of the names. Right in the middle of downtown though, and just ran into each other late night. I was drunk as hell, and he told me, he's like, you know what? I think you could totally do this, man. Absolutely. Why don't you just come on down, try it out sometimes, And it worked out because it was on a Tuesday night. At the time I was a weekend producer at a TV station. So Tuesday and Wednesday were actually my weekends. So I could drive down. Stay the night, just drive home whenever. And so I, agreed to do it. Drunk as hell, seemed like a great idea at the time. And he called, and naturally I don't remember any of this. And he calls me about a month before, about a week before the show. It's like, so, putting out making the Facebook page and everything, you still in? And I thought about it, and to be honest, I halfway looked for a reason not to. But then I was just sort of, why the hell not?
Yeah.
And, give it a shot, go down there, if anything, get a few bucks, get, my beers covered for the night.
Hell yeah.
And just go at it. And I've been doing it ever since.
That's awesome. So your first time wasn't even an open mic; it was a show.
No, it was a book show.
That's awesome.
It was they do it monthly because the scenes, is small as the scene is in Huntsville, it's smaller in Auburn, really.
Yeah.
But I mean, they do really is actually about the same size, and for a smaller city.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good. They've Dave will be able to talk about it more, but for the most part, they've got a bunch of people that have done it for a few times, get a little more time. The 7 to 10 minutes kind of thing.
Yeah.
A couple guys will come down from Atlanta every now and then,
Okay.
or I'll come down, or a couple folks from Birmingham.
Yeah.
And but then at the beginning though, if there's anybody that's never done it, come up talk to one of the guys up there and hey, I'd love to try this out sometime. They'll get you on the next month.
It's awesome.
5 minutes, do your thing.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad we're talking to somebody too who knows about maybe starting a scene and building it up and shit, because that's something that we try to talk about a lot on here is what we need to do or what's been done, and just the scene in general. What do you think? How far has the scene come, in your opinion, since you started? You started, 2 years ago?
Let's see here. I've let's see here, January of last year. So about
a year and
a half.
Okay.
And to be honest, with working with the Epic Comedy Hour, Justin's the one that started it up. We're kind of taking over for him, and he did a lot for that show in a short amount of time. It started. I think, it hadn't been a full year. I think the first show I did was in March of last year.
Okay.
And it was, I think, 8 months after the first show or something. And the crowd was, turning people away. Fire Marshal, it was
Wow.
370. Wow. And, that's the one thing. It hit a huge peak, and we're just, trying to capture whatever magic we can to get it back up there. It dipped down. We were still getting pretty good crowds. Still about
Most
between
definitely.
150, 170 people.
Yeah.
But we got up actually this last month.
It's 220 something,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think 228 I believe for the March show. So it's getting back up there.
Yeah.
And it's just sticking with, and it's kind of it's one of the things I learned working at the news station. A big thing is, all of our Facebook pages. Whether it's the Huntsville Need Comedy, Spontaneous Humor Combustion, Epic Comedy Hour, Comedy Mayhem, just keeping posting, on there, because this is, Facebook, Twitter, this is, for the most part, when people log on, this is where they go.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just, getting word out through there.
Yeah.
I love getting around, you guys have done a great job about this too. Bunch of places around downtown, just supporting this type of stuff, and they'll put up your posters for you.
Yeah.
I've done it with, let's see here, Lone Goose down there. I've done it with Humphreys. Trying to give as many shout outs to people who give us shout outs.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah,
Sam and Greg's, Three Skillets.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But and because it's the kind of thing, it's people go out and do this, and generally I think between the both the homegrown and the epic shows, people leave in a good mood. People aren't walking out the door pissed off.
That's good.
People are leaving feeling happy. It's you know what? Let's go out. Let's go downtown. And so I think
keep hanging out.
A lot of those bars recognize it and help us out with this. And and we love them for it.
Yeah, and I think that's crucial to keeping the scene going. Is just supporting local businesses.
Right.
If, they support us. Whatever. You scratch our back, we scratch yours. Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And it's the one thing at Lone Goose, and I guess to give fair time to both of them, at Lone Goose on Tuesdays and Barrel House on Wednesdays, I'll do trivia. But at Lone Goose, they let me they let me pretty much walk up there with a poster, and during halftime point at it, advertise it and everything. And I've got, for those not familiar with it, a small, not a very small or very big interior area at all, but still got 4 posters plastered all over the place. It's the kind of thing, they're really cool about it. So I'll get up there and I'll tell it, and I'll, ask all the comics, because I don't think we've done a show yet where everybody's, heading out the door, getting right back on the road afterwards.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
And so we'll all go down. I pretty much just ask everyone we can all go down, even not for the whole night or whatever, but go down to Lone Goose, help them out, because, they helped us out. And it's definitely showed the last couple shows.
That's awesome.
The attendance is going up.
Yeah. That's badass. See, that's good. That's something that I think any comedy scene that isn't doing that isn't like supporting their local businesses and vice versa, like
Right.
I don't think it's going to be sustainable.
Right.
Like, I think that's something that you guys have done. Like, I'm kind of fairly new to the whole scene, but you guys have continued to do for the past couple of years, and I think that's one reason it's been so successful. But one thing that has there ever been, I'm trying to bounce off that about with Epic Comedy Hour and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, one time I was talking to somebody, they said, like an audience member, they said the reason why, I think one reason why, I think in my opinion, is because it's just something different that Huntsville doesn't have, like,
right.
Comedy.
Right.
And so it's just like, do you think maybe, my question is I'm really high. This isn't professional at all. Sorry, guys. But how big the percentage of the audience is it, like, people who really love comedy to people who, just like, oh, this is something different? Like, in the end, though, it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, like, I
mean, I think we've got a good amount of kind of, I guess, return customers, if you will. Yeah. People that have come out. I've got a couple groups of fans. They always, up at Low Mill, will be outside smoking a cigarette. They smoke too. They always come down, come say hey, hang out for a minute. I mean, they're there at every single show.
Yeah.
I mean, rain or shine, one of them came down sounding like death. I mean, still made it out to the show. I think for comedy to grow, it kind of you kind of do want a large a percentage as you can of people like, this seems new, let's check this out. Because in the end, that's how it's going to grow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think a lot of people like, they say, and one thing it's kind of positive for me is like, I didn't know, they did this stuff around here. This is really awesome because, I think a lot of people, when they think of like live comedy, they think of it like in New York City or, the big cities, and they don't know that can happen in your hometown.
Going to like a comedy club.
A comedy club, a legitimate club and stuff like that. So, but we're gonna have some comics call in. I don't know. I saw your phone flash up. I don't know if
don't worry. That was
okay.
It's tax time. That was a student loan collector.
Oh, okay.
So that's not getting answered.
We're in that same boat.
Yeah. Let's. But yeah.
Anyway, let's digress. Okay, so the next Epic Comedy Hour is this 26th of April. You just want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'll bring that up because that should segue nicely because we should have Dave calling in here momentarily. Yeah. But let's see, we've got just basically a handful of people I've done stand up with just throughout. This is it's actually, this one's kind of a big deal because it's the first one I've actually booked as the Epic show host, and so there's a whole more, I guess, an added element of kind of stress over making sure everything works out.
Yeah.
But we've got a couple great folks coming up. Sam McElroy, she's done the Epic show a handful of times before. Yeah. I don't know that we've had her on. I think since that first one I had was either in March or maybe May. But we've got her back. Also, if you guys want to check her out, she does a lot of solo guitaring and singing. I don't think that's really the right word, and she's going to kill me for putting it that way.
She does music.
Yeah. She does music.
She plays music.
But you can catch her around town. She was actually going to try to make it tonight, but she's actually got a solo show up at Barrel House this evening. But she'll be up there. Another Huntsville comedian, Patrick Cunningham, who was on the last show.
Fucking hilarious, man.
We came down and saw one of the Comedy Mayhem shows down at Crossroads, and saw his Ice-T impression, and was almost fell out of my stool laughing. I was like, next show, let's do this.
I was really happy that I saw him on. I was like, dude, he's gonna be good. Because he's every time, even open mics and stuff, he kills every time.
Right.
So it's gonna be good having him.
But yeah, and then let's see, we've got a couple. We've got two coming out. I guess kind of from my beginnings. I guess two coming up from Auburn. Dave Dettmering, who'll be calling in here in a bit, and Scott Howard as well. Two really funny guys. They're down there. You can catch them at just about every Bellwether variety show. Again, it's the second Tuesday of the month. If you're down there in Auburn at that, happen to be down there around that time, Dave hosts it. Scott's a regular. You can just about guarantee he'll be on the show with them. But they both go up to Birmingham as well, do a few shows up there. And then coming up from Birmingham, we've got Bo Guthrie and Carter Glasscock, both a couple guys that I've hung out with. We've done stuff through the Auburn show, the Bellwether Variety Show, done a couple shows with them. And then Wes Van Horn, who's somebody I've gotten to know through them. He was based out of Birmingham, but he's actually moved out. He's living in Kansas City, and he's coming down. He'll be doing a handful of shows, actually. He's going to be all over Birmingham, Atlanta, I think down to Jackson, Tuscaloosa, and then back up here. But he'll be coming out. He'll be closing for us, and it'll be a good show. We're definitely looking forward to it. I think it's going to be, like I said, it's nerve-wracking. It's the first one to kind of like, these are my guys. Yeah. I hope you like them.
Yeah.
Please laugh.
Have you hosted one before already?
Yeah, I've hosted one, and it was one that after Justin moved, but he still had a handful of shows already booked afterwards. Yeah. And so, we weren't going to pull the plug on these guys.
Yeah.
Worked out well. I had hosted in November.
Yeah.
Group of really funny guys. Came a couple guys that have come down, I think, both Mike Albanese and Neil Reddy out of Atlanta. I think that was their third epic show they've come down for.
Oh, wow.
Both really funny guys. But actually...
Here's Dave now.
Let's see. Let's get it on the speaker.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, buddy. Yeah, we're here. We got you. We're doing this super professional style with the cell phone on speaker by the microphone.
Oh, perfect.
Excellent. There we go.
Dave, it's nice to meet
you. Doing well, Dave. I'm here with Sam Ashby, our host of Spontaneous Humor Combustion.
I'm a fan. I just listened to your full show.
What's that, Dave?
I just listened to the full show up on YouTube.
Oh, really? Yeah, I saw that you liked it. I appreciate that, man.
Oh, no problem, man. I do have a question really quick. We all get started on whatever you want to talk about. Did y'all say y'all had a contest with 27 comedians?
Yeah, we did. We had it was a competition at Crossroads. It was last Wednesday. I forgot what date that was. But yeah, we had 26 guys show up, man, and it was fucking awesome. It was really fun. Jonathan, the guy who put it together, Jonathan Craig, he's going to try to do another one here probably next month somewhere. The venue we did it at, it's about to close down. It's about to move, so all that's up in the air right now, I believe. But yeah, it was a really successful show. It was a lot of fun.
How did the audience fare for that long a time?
They fared really well.
Yeah,
I was really surprised.
I mean, to be honest, I was there for a little while afterwards, hanging with a couple guys that did sets, and it seemed that a lot of the people were there to see the comedians, really, not so much the music. But I mean, they definitely stayed throughout. I mean, it was the kind of thing. It started. I got there late because I came from hosting the trivia thing.
It started at around 8:20 and got done at 11.
Yeah,
it was,
and everybody getting 5-minute sets.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, most definitely, man. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and we want to do it again. So, but we're excited. You're coming up, aren't you? April 26th, right?
I am. Tim invited me, so I'm coming.
Awesome. Good deal. You excited? How are you feeling about it?
I'm really excited. Everybody's been talking about how amazing the room it is and how amazing the show it is. So
yeah, it's an awesome show, man.
Now, I think somebody was telling me, what is it, hold like 300, something like that?
It can hold. We were actually talking about earlier. The best we did was a little over a year ago, and it was basically like fire marshal turning people away at I think about 370.
Wow, yeah, that's a big room.
Yeah. So it's always a good crowd there. I mean, they're there. I mean, they want to watch comedy. They want to they want to laugh. So it's always a good attentive crowd. But I was just going to ask you, like, Tim was kind of talking before you called, just talking about how you got started, with your variety show and stuff. How did you get that stuff started?
Well, Rivers Langley started the Bellwether show.
Yeah.
When he he decided to go for the gold and moved out to LA. He needed somebody to take over, so I think he looked for the least confident person to do that. Work out.
That's how it worked for me up here too, buddy.
It's a lot of fun. I think I heard y'all talking about this, and coming in this blind, I'm not sure what you've already talked about, but hosting so much different than doing like 5 or 10, 15 minutes. Like it's all comedy, but it's night and day. At least to me, it is.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's one thing because it's, it's like I guess for the competition night we were talking about when Jonathan with that because there were so many, it's just moving it along. Just come up, introduce the next guy, but otherwise it's. Keeping everybody going in between comics, and if you go out and a joke bombs, then you really fuck over the next comic, and it's definitely a lot more pressure.
Yeah, I feel like hosting though, I don't really feel any pressure when I host just because I don't have to be funny enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not really when I host. I think I give enough time for people to go get drinks and come back.
Yeah, that was something I was asking Tim earlier about, like. Do you ever notice the difference between when you're hosting a show and when you're actually performing?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I think I'm a much better comedian than I'm a host.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or at least I just like it more.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I love doing the show because I get to see some guys that I think are really funny, and like being able to put the show together. Like it's amazing to be able to build a show and then in a month. Go see all the local comedians in the Ashby, Birmingham, and Atlanta that we've had. I really enjoy seeing. That's my favorite part of it.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome.
I'd rather get up and do 5 minutes and get the hell off stage.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah, but I guess do you know much about the Huntsville comedy scene? Obviously you know Tim and you know Scott, I believe. Do you know much about it beyond that? Beyond that we have one here. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I just want to know, I'm just curious to see what other comics know about Huntsville and stuff.
Well, yeah, and I just, barely allow myself to call myself a comic, but I'm really new to it. And the biggest thing that I've noticed is things like your podcast. Like I listen to it now, I feel like I have some sort of base knowledge about the Huntsville scene because I didn't know much was going on. I knew Tim was up there and I knew about the Epic show.
Yeah.
But after listening to one episode of the podcast, now I feel like there's a whole family up there that I'm really excited to meet.
Yeah, man. That's one thing we've talked about before. First, I want to say thanks for listening to the podcast. That's awesome. I really appreciate you, man. I really appreciate that. But this podcast is kind of one thing that I've been wanting to use to try to get other comics out there and the Huntsville comedy scene just out there and people know about it. Because I don't think a lot of people know that we actually have a scene here now. And I think that's one thing one thing to help. But what I was going to say is just it's taken a while for it to build up, but I think it's slowly happening. And thanks to guys like Tim and Scott and Justin and Jonathan Craig, Comedy Mayhem, and Thaddeus Blake, it's been slowly building, and I just hope this podcast will be one thing that people will take away from it. So.
Well, yeah, especially being as kind of isolated as we are down here in Auburn. It's it's its own little fantasy world that we live in down here, and
yeah.
I'd love to have some Huntsville guys down. I'm glad that I get to come up, and I probably have a feeling that has a lot to do with it. My ability to come and do the show has a lot to do with Bellwether, and that's one of the things that I love is I'll come back and then we'll have Huntsville comedians come down. And
yeah, hell yeah.
I like the family feel of it more so than, I've run into this a little bit, but mostly everybody really wants everybody else to do well. There's not a lot of meeting going on, at least down here, as much as I can tell.
Yeah.
No, and it's definitely. I mean, it comes around the same way. I mean, because with hosting this, I've got. I've got you, Scott Howard coming up, and then Carter Glasgow coming up from Birmingham. So it's, the first show I'm booking myself is a bunch of people that, I've done stand up with, either up here or Bellwether down there.
And that's Tim's voice. That would be Tim.
Yeah, that would be me. Yes, this is Tim.
I can't help you. I can't pick up. But yeah, I will talk and fill space with just blather, so just cut me off anytime. The most we've ever done is, getting back to about my 27 just amazes me. The most we've ever had, I believe, when I've been on the show is 12 comedians. They did different times. But the one thing I found, and maybe I'll tell this, is that it wasn't full when we finished. But the audience that was there is like the cream of the crop. It's the audience that you want to perform in front of. They waited 2 hours. They really want to hear comedy.
Right.
And so it works pretty well. I found that with the Bellwether show, we're trying to get down to around 5 comedians with some music, and then trying to get more open mics started in the area, because that'll take the pressure off of just having everybody perform at the Bellwether show.
Right.
Yeah. So in addition to the show, or excluding the variety show, are there open mics in Auburn right now, or is it just that for the?
There are musical open mics. In fact, I'm guest hosting one tonight for a friend of mine that's in Lonnie. Hopefully, tonight's gonna be taken over by comedy mostly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But right now, no, it's really cool musical open mic hosts that like putting some comedy in. I've always found musicians like comedy or comedians. Like they work really well together. So they've been really, really gracious about that. I'm going to start one up coming soon when I get a PA system. That we want to do every Tuesday, and then just have Bellwether be the big once-a-month show on Tuesday at the house. So that's what we're hoping to have. But,
yeah.
And if anybody ever listens to this and they're in the Auburn area, I'd really, just start up a mic, get a karaoke machine, do it in the living room. You're going to meet a lot of really cool people, a lot of like-minded people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Our situation right now is we have 2 up here right now, or 3 actually, 3 open mics. And I think one problem we have is we just have a lot of the same comedians go out to every open mic.
Right. It's just the same show.
And it's just the same show every night. So it's just I think one thing that we need to work on right now is just getting more comedians, getting more people wanting to try out open mics and stuff. So I don't know.
Well, that's why we're...
No, go ahead.
No, but that's why I feel like that's why we're kind of lucky in Auburn, is because the people that are doing it and doing it often are the same people. But you get a lot of just young people from the college that have been told they're funny, or like me, everybody's surprised when they are funny. To get up and just try shit, so it keeps it really new and fresh. Now, I mean, they're not very polished or anything, but it does keep a lot of new blood in it. And it's kind of great what everybody's doing down here. Like Anthony Dinar, I don't know if I know him, but he's one of the guys that started one of the first shows that I ever went to in Auburn.
Uh-huh.
And he became a firefighter, and now he owns a CrossFit gym. And he just had a show with me and Scott Howard and Kevin Felfier and Scott Claiborne at his gym out in Opelika. So you bring your own beer. It's a building. I really like that kind of idea. It's really simple. You don't have to do some big show to if you want to do this. You do small little things.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's you were mentioning that venue and stuff. I think that's one reason why Epic Comedy Hour has been so successful, is because of the Flying Monkey.
Yeah,
and it's because it's BYOB.
Yeah, I guess if you're not familiar with it, it's literally it's $7 at the door, but walk in. You can bring in a cooler, liquor, mixers, however you feel like drinking. Just no smoking inside. That's pretty much the only rule.
Yeah.
Everywhere. I might have run out of things to say.
All right, man. Well, I guess we'll let you go. We're not going to keep you, dragging you along for the whole thing. But thanks for calling in, buddy.
Well, Well, thank you. It's my first call-in. So.
Yeah, dude. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it.
I don't lose you listeners because of it.
No, you totally added listeners. I appreciate it, man.
All right, Dave.
All right, see you on the 26th, man.
All right, thanks, man. See you
you
the
there,
26th. All right, once again, it's Dave Dettmering calling in. He's got the Bellwether Variety Show down in Auburn. If you're ever down there, I believed it was the second Tuesday of the month, but I might have heard him say those the first. So
yes, I think it was.
I'll double check. It's at Bloodhound down in Auburn. But tell you what, we got the computer up. I'll pull it up now to make sure.
Pull it up right now.
But yeah, he'll be coming up with Scott Howard from Auburn. We've got Patrick Cunningham, Sam McElroy from Huntsville, and then Bo Guthrie and Carter Glasscock coming out of Birmingham, and then Wes Van Horn coming out, I guess, Birmingham via Kansas City, really.
Good deal. But that was it was really good to hear that. I mean, obviously, I know about Birmingham and stuff like that, but it was really good to hear about Auburn, their comedy scene and stuff.
Right.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
It looks like the second Tuesday of the month, every month at the Bloodhound down in Auburn.
Good deal. What else can we talk about, buddy? It's up to you.
Here, one thing I mentioned I want to bring up.
Yeah,
I think
bring up whatever you want to bring up.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I guess I don't know if you guys have seen the headline that Justin Bieber is coming under fire. Rightfully so. He was at the Anne Frank house in the Netherlands and left on the guest book, like, truly inspired by this teenage woman. Something along those lines. But then he ended with, "I'd like to think she would have been a believer." For the case I kind of mutter sometimes. I want to make sure everybody understands that's a believer with a second B. And I mean, where does somebody get the balls to say something like that?
I don't know.
Which is ironic because I'm pretty sure he's a woman.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's a lesbian. But I mean,
my thing is just the fucking arrogance, man. Like, really, like, I really don't. I didn't even know about all that shit until like yesterday. It was up on Twitter and shit, and I was just like, to me, to be honest with you, I really don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a shit about it, but it's just like.
I mean, I don't know why it shouldn't. It kind of does piss me off a little. He's just a little.
Yeah.
This kid's a little asshole.
Oh, he definitely is an asshole. Like
he's this close to a drug problem and going away forever.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, I can't wait till his drug addiction comes in.
Oh my god! And we can just never hear from him again.
Yeah.
Like, his international fame's already wearing off. Like in not Birmingham. We'd have known if he were down there. In England, he was pretty much booed out of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, for everything, because like, it's one thing. I did a stand-up bit about it. It went over so, but like, you know what? Hopefully, those people weren't listening. We've got the people that get it listening now. But
it'll kill this time.
Yeah, exactly. It's never worked before, but this time I got it. But I mean, honestly, like, he was wearing a gas mask through out in public in England, and certain
was he trying to make
media styles or whatever?
Yeah,
were like saying it's such a brave wardrobe choice, and it's like, oh, what the hell? Like, that's not brave. Like, and that's in Britain they put that big picture up and they just make fun of him. It's like, who the fuck is this American asshole?
People, like, there are girls my age, like, I'm 23, there are girls who legitimately still like him, like, you know what I mean, who are my age, and it's just like, you're fucking dumb as shit. Like you really, like, are you legitimately like this guy? Like, grow the fuck up.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either.
I guess I'm not, a 14-year-old girl, so I don't see the appeal.
Yeah.
But it gets me.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why it gets to me is because this is a kid who didn't have to work for anything.
No.
Like, he didn't do shit with
No.
his life. He just put
It's
a
like
video
he's-
up on him on YouTube
He's like
singing.
became buddies with Usher when he was really young, and like won some
Yeah.
singing contest. Was like, oh, this kid's gonna be the
Yeah,
shit.
exactly.
Like, no, he's just shit.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and it's one thing that made me like love Britain so much, because like they would show clips of like you know the British paparazzi like surrounding him, asking questions like, Justin, you know, just
Yeah.
hollering and finally getting his attention, like, Justin, yes, Justin.
Yeah.
Fuck you, you know, and
Yeah.
just do that just to fuck with the kid.
Yeah.
Like, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
That would never
beautiful,
happen here
beautiful
in America.
people.
Yeah.
No, somebody will call up and like lose their job with TMZ, and then
Yeah, I know.
that actually makes you a better person.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Here in America, I guess it's every country though, but I notice here in America, I mean, people just love celebrities. They just
Oh
like,
yeah,
and that's just, I mean, even if it's not loving them or talking shit about them or, you know, whatever, it's just like, I don't know. I try not to worry about that shit though. Like,
well, I mean, it's true. I mean, the thing is, like, I
Yeah.
talked about that Joey McIntyre thing, or whoever the bombing person or whoever was, you know, whatever TMZ was reporting. I think it was Joey McIntyre.
yeah.
Got
Yeah.
through the set, but the sad thing is, like, that really is news to somebody. Like,
Oh, most
like somebody
definitely.
is like, oh, really? Like, click, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, that is
Yeah.
news to someone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's not news.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, fuck, man. I love Twitter and Facebook and all that shit, like, especially with, you know, we were talking about earlier, like, promoting shows and
Right.
stuff. But at the same time, like, there's such a bad, like, connotation that comes with it. And
There are so many people on Facebook that,
yeah.
I mean, I guess I could, but like at the same time, I could, you know, just delete these people and not make fun of them. But it is fun, like when they're not like outright pissing me off by what they're saying, and they're just plain being morons.
Yeah.
Like that's fun.
There are some people, like, who are on my friends list that I've had to hide from my newsfeed just because just the shit they say is just
Oh yeah, they're
off the wall.
They're crazy people.
Yeah, they're crazy.
There are a lot of sane people that I knew in high school that are crazy now.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. I think one thing I hate about Twitter and Facebook and shit, like, it makes it so easy for you to voice your opinion or voice whatever you think without people, like, calling you out on it. You know what I mean? Like, because there are a lot of people that I know, like, especially on my friends list and shit on Facebook, like, they say shit on their status or whatever, a political opinion or just a thought or whatever, and they know nobody's gonna, like, call them out on it just because it doesn't fucking matter, to be like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, there's a shit ton of people I can disagree with on Facebook all day long, but I don't have the time or the energy to, like, sit there and type out an argument like every 5 minutes with everybody.
And that's the one thing. I mean, because and I guess I say this coming from. I guess this was like today. I was like a little bit preachy on the. What's that? Well, I guess not too preachy on the bombing thing. There was one thing. Oh, what I wanted to point out. Another one. I saved this. Tweets on the bombing is just all these in a row, and it's, you know, all the news sources posting breaking news, and it's the AP breaking news: 2 explosions at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. The Daily Collegian, it's a college news website. Authorities are investigating a report of 2 explosions. Let's see here. CBS News, breaking news: 1 or more apparent explosions hit near Boston Marathon, the finish line. New York Times, breaking news: the New York Times wins 4 Pulitzer Prizes.
That's crazy, man.
I mean,
it's like, and it's all within the same time range too.
Yeah,
So it
I've
wasn't
not altered that at all.
Yeah.
That is how
Yeah.
it came up, and 15 minutes later they start talking about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's that. But I mean, getting back to what we were saying, I mean, it's, you know, I got a little preachy on it. I mean, if
No.
you want to get really technical, maybe. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, so many people think, oh, it's like, well, we're friends on Facebook, so I want to listen to you preach about my religious and political freedoms.
Or share shit on
Yeah.
people's Facebook walls.
Oh
all
my
the
God!
fucking time,
The
man.
share if you like this.
Yeah.
Then don't
Yeah.
share, and your whole family will die of cancer very slowly and painfully.
Yeah.
Like,
I better do it.
Oh
I better
my
share this
God.
picture, man.
it's like that's one of the bits I've got. It's like, you know, share this if you want this African child, the starving African child, to live. It's like, screw that. I've seen skinnier. He's a little chunky, to be honest.
Yeah.
Click like if you think Jesus was a good guy. It's like, no. You know what? I heard he can be a real Jew. I mean, I just want to post this on all these people's walls. Like, screw that.
Yeah.
Screw that.
That's why I hate it, man. At the same time, I love it though. I like being able to interact with people, meet other comics and stuff.
Yeah, it is a great way for us to stay in touch for that. I mean, I'm mostly. I've rarely put anything on Facebook that isn't just some sort of like stupid snarky joke, really.
Yeah.
That's all I do. I do that, and I post stuff for the comedy hour.
Yeah.
And that's what it's there for me. I think it serves that purpose very well.
Yeah.
And it's just keeping up with the people that are, it depends on what end of the line it's just they're either being moronic or they're just being irritatingly, telling me this is how it is, blah, 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 blah.
Exactly, yeah. I'm going to ask you a few more questions, man, and then we're going to probably wrap it up here in another 15 minutes, if that's cool.
Yeah.
I've been trying to keep it at an hour just because I think people's attention span is
This is your rodeo.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with me around, they're probably...
No, not at all. I'm not saying that.
Thank God this isn't video, or they'd have...
they would have...
They see this guy.
Shit,
holy shit.
But one thing you kind of... Well, I was thinking about when you were talking about it, but it seems to me like the few times I've seen you at Epic, then a few times I've seen you at Copper Top, like it seems you and I kind of have the same... I don't want to say style, but I want to try to do the same stuff. Is just talk about maybe like social... commentary kind of stuff, like you're talking about Facebook, like that.
I try to when I can. It's when it comes to me, I definitely try to do more meaningful jokes than dick jokes. I don't want to go up there and just be too punchy, but if it works,
it works.
That's
my philosophy too. Like because sometimes I'm like I want to do political shit or I want to do social commentary, but then it's just like it doesn't really matter. Like as long as I'm making people laugh, that's all I really care about. So if it's a dick joke or about me not having sex a lot or whatever, like if it makes people laugh, that's all I really fucking care about. And who are some of your like influences though? Like who did you grow up watching? Or
I'd say one of the biggest. I'd say two big influences because one of them's in a weird way Rodney Dangerfield.
Okay.
Because I love the I get no respect. Kind of comedy. If you can't laugh at yourself, you've got no fucking right to laugh at anybody else.
I agree with that. Yeah.
If you can't make fun of yourself, then why would you even be up there?
Yeah.
Exactly. I've given myself so much material to make fun of, why not use this wealth of stupid shit I've done?
Yeah.
But I'd say him, and then it wasn't he actually, not that I know of, was ever a stand-up comedian, but it'd be Leslie Nielsen in the Naked Gun movies.
Okay.
Like seeing those, like I'd watched them ad nauseum as a kid. Like my parents got us the trilogy, and I'd go through. Like I was a fat kid because I'd stay in on the weekend and watch those. But that's the first time I watched that, and I was like, I want to tell jokes and make people laugh.
Yeah.
Like even like it was never like in the form of stand up. Like I, worked for a newspaper throughout my time in Auburn, wrote like little, kind of fun little editorials, just mostly like it started off they wanted stories about the football games, but from the student section point of view, where everybody's drunk and all over the place. I was like, I know about that. I can give you 500 words a week.
Yeah.
And then during the when the season was over, it's just kind of find random things to talk about. Like there's one I had my big debate about like the holiday tree or the Christmas tree or whatever. It's a Christmas tree. Yeah. It's not to be insensitive, but it's there to celebrate Christmas. Yeah. That's what the tree's for.
Yeah.
That's the holiday it was there for.
Yeah, yeah. So that's something I wrote for my newspaper at MTSU. So do you think maybe that helped you out a little bit when you restarted comedy?
Because it was like in that one because that's the one thing with stand up. Like I can go several weeks, if not like a month, and just like nothing comes to me. Just terrible writer's block, can't get anything new. Like with that, it was, especially during the downtime when it wasn't football season, it was like finding stuff to write about.
Yeah.
Like coming up, I've got to have 500 words about something.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was really lucky because they really let me go, and I've turned in some stuff that was absolute crap, but
oh yeah,
it's 500 words that filled the spot it needed to fill.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, there were some of them. Like I did one. Let's see here. Testing what kind of liquor gives you the worst hangover, using, of course, myself as a test subject. Not very scientific because it was all 4 days in a row. So naturally, it was just whichever one was on the last day.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I saved for red wine, which was a horrible, horrible idea. And I tied that into, because they're actually that's a good idea. Why don't you give us a feature? So it's 1,000 words. Like,
yeah.
Well, okay, I'll just tie into it. What's the best hangover cure? And so worked all that out. It turns out, for the record, everybody, doctors, everybody, my mom are gonna hate this. The best hangover cure is to get another drink.
Yeah.
That works the best. Non-alcoholic style. Couple of Advil. If you can stomach Alka-Seltzer, I hear that's heaven. The taste of that stuff gets me. Cannot keep it down.
Yeah, I can't drink
Never been able to.
Yeah.
My girlfriend raves about it. No, cannot do it.
Yeah. So, whenever are you a writer? Do you consider yourself a writer whenever you're doing stand up, or is it more of just, thinking shit out in your head and then just
I mean, a little
stage?
bit, because it's the one thing, like working in I worked in TV before this.
Yeah.
And like it was producing newscasts. And so it's the kind of thing, putting the stories in order and kind of in order of relevance, and top to bottom, and then making sure everything's a segue, like not being sensitive, but you can't go from like a rape story to the first 2 children of the year are born.
Exactly.
There has to be some sort of transition, some sort of segue.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of using that, and it's almost like each joke I kind of use as a story.
Yeah.
Like I try to have, and there's sometimes, and I've seen a lot of us will do it. I mean, and it can be funny in its own right. It's like, well, there's no way to segue into this next joke and then just go on
just
into
do
it.
Yeah.
And if it's, because it's the one thing, if it really is just polar opposites, and you kind of call a little credit to it, or a little attention to it, it can be funny too. But yeah, just trying to get everything like that, just like in order.
Yeah.
And just instead of just a bunch of punchlines, like I want there to be some sort of flow to beginning and end.
Exactly.
It's the one thing, like, because with a lot of open mics, it's 5 minutes, and there's not a lot of time to do it in that. But like if it's one of the epic or the homegrown shows or Comedy Mayhem, when you've got a 10-minute set, that's when you can actually have time to put things in order, like as you'd like them, as opposed to just here are the newest jokes, that are the best jokes I've thought of.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm struggling with right now, is trying to make like a coherent set of like just everything, that like every topic, like what I've actually done is like write down all my jokes and then like try to divide them up into each like different topics, and then try to group them that way, and then try to all like string them together in some kind of story, or just some kind of cohesive set.
Right.
Because they always say, like, start with your second best, end with your strongest bit. I'm like, I don't even feel like I have either of those. Like, you know what I mean? It's just
and that's a thing that's weird for me to do, because like I've heard that, and like coming from the producing thing.
Yeah.
It's biggest stuff at the top on down. Like there are some schools of thought, like save a big story for when you're coming back for the commercial break. I mean. Some think that I never really did. It's just top of the top, and as such on down. And so going from like you said, the second best ending with the best, and like filling it in between. It's definitely it's weird. It's definitely changing things from what I'm used to.
Yeah, most definitely. I think one thing that I think I mentioned on one of the last podcasts was like, since all of the open mics we do are 10 minutes, I mean, I think we get 10-minute sets each time. So it's just like, that's almost become like, I don't want to say Huntsville has a style of comedy, there's the Chicago style in New York, but I want to say that one thing that what I've noticed is that a lot of our jokes, or speaking for myself, sometimes a lot of my jokes are, they're not as punchy as, they could be, because I think we try to adapt to that 10-minute time slot.
Because it gives us more time, it's kind of, I guess, how I describe myself and doing stand-up is like, as opposed to a more Mitch Hedberg, just like one-liners.
Yeah.
I like to fear more of the storytelling and building it up.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing that sucks is like some of them will be 2 or 3 minute jokes. If you get to the punchline and it doesn't hit, or you haven't kept everybody going through it, then it's a shitty feeling. It's like, there goes 3 minutes and I'm not going to get them back.
Yeah, exactly.
And so,
yeah, that takes a lot of time. Like, we were talking about that one time and talking about how, like, your setup needs to be worth the punchline at the end.
Right.
Like, it needs to, people need to be excited for the punchline at the end. Like, what the fuck is he going to say? So, it's definitely, I like how the one thing I chose to try to be good at is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like,
but it's for writing, you've got to be able to do it. You've got to be able to get that, get a flow, beginning to end. I mean, that's part of the writing of it is when you've got the chance for the long sets, like segues, making sure.
Yeah.
Because it was one of them, I think, I think did the July show for Epic, and I'd say that's the best one that I've had that fit,
really?
That just did beginning to end, did what I wanted it to do.
Yeah. Do you record your stuff? Like, do you record your sets ever?
I mean, we've done I haven't recorded them because most of the stuff I've done's done through Epic shows, which we've been terrible about on our last ones. We do record them. We haven't gotten them up on our website. We've gotten behind. We are going to get those up. You guys are going to get a flood of highlights from our last handful of shows. I promise. We are just we've just dropped the ball on this, but we will get around to that stuff and get it out there for you.
One thing I think I've watched every video on the page, like just from shows I haven't seen and just watching everybody else. Like it's really fun, and that's obviously a good promotional tool too. So.
Yeah, I've got to see if I can get something other than the Mighty YOU jokes up there. Show people I do have other jokes.
It's hard, man, coming up with new shit though. I mean, it's a lot of work and it's difficult.
It's one thing I've got that bit. I mean it's kind of Jeff Foxworthy. You might be a redneck but I feel it's distanced enough from it where it's not ripping them off, and I mean otherwise it's something that's easy to when you've got a reusable bit like that, it can be easy to break and not being able to write. It's just think of 3 new lines for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, that's good. That's good. I guess we're gonna wrap it up. That's cool with you.
Yeah. It's your show.
Yeah. I don't want to say like it's my.
It is my fucking show.
Oh man. Well, Tim, what are you on your own Twitter?
Twitter at Kelly KELLYRT 1031. Fire it up every now and then. I try to stay pretty current. I mostly use it to make fun of other people on Twitter, but. I think it's still good jokes.
Yeah, I mean it's a good thing to try to make up new shit and stuff too. Yeah. And then you're on Facebook, Tim Kelly?
Yeah, on Facebook, Tim Kelly. I don't have any comedian page or anything like that. I'm the one. It's either a picture of the ECH poster or Ron Swanson.
Good deal.
It's always one of those two.
Yeah. And guys, this is Sam Ashby. Just be sure to keep doing what you're doing and supporting us, and we appreciate it. Have a good night. Bye.